to complain about for the rest of my life. Feel like that's a good milestone for 40.
It's funny because I still feel like I'm 36
and
I turn 37 next year, and I still feel that 40 is old to me.
Right.
But then when you kind of look around and see the world as it is, and it's like, yeah, it's really not that old. It just right now feels old.
I feel like I'm expected to have like some sort of major change in my life, or like some sort of like revelation or midlife crisis or something as I'm weeks away from 40, and I'm just sort of like, yeah, I'm just tired.
I keep asking my wife, like, when the hell am I allowed to have a midlife crisis anymore?
Right.
Just so you guys know,
yes,
you're allowed to have them whenever you damn well please.
That's right.
But more importantly, we've all been having them since we were about 25. So it's been a constant midlife crisis.
How long have I been podcasting? 14 years, so probably about that long. Yeah. Hey, Cosmic Cow and Brain Eater in chat. How's it going? How's your midlife crisis going?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I totally forgot. I got a haircut.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
A haircut and a beard trim for those who don't follow me on Twitter.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't feel like my life is put together well enough right now still that I could be like, oh yeah, I've really got shit figured out. But
I thought you were going to say
like it's in shambles. So like the only thing that's left is a midlife crisis.
I feel like you were going to say like, I don't have my life in order enough to have a midlife crisis. And I was like, boy, if that's not the millennial attitude, like I'm not sure.
No, the thing about that gets to me is like yeah, like shit is kind of real at the moment, but
sure,
at the same time I'm doing just enough to survive week by week by week and slowly improve things as I go. But at the same time it's like, yeah, it could be worse, but it could be better. And it's like
it's like trending upward, but maybe not as fast as you'd like.
Yeah. It's like a minor incline on a hill rather than, the skyrocketing stocks of GameSpot.
Right. Man.
I can have anything skyrocket besides how much money I have to put into my piece of shit house to keep fixing it up. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yep.
My house isn't really a piece of shit. I just hate it because it's old.
I just like...
Yeah, I'm researching new phones, so that should give you an idea of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. All right, are you guys ready to start the show?
Yep.
Sure, why not?
All right.
I give consent.
I like it. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Howdy.
And the Nymph.
Hello.
Patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are numbers. I get all the good behind-the-scenes early access stuff. You get like 2-month early access to Critical Misses, the show where Moon and I are catching up on all the sort of media hits we missed. We Roguelike It's a show we play every roguelike in history. That's right, I'm bringing that back here for the main show to torture Moon. And then you get the Outcast. It's the uncensored pre-show stuff before we go live, before we start recording. All the stuff we're talking about, other types of media, what we're kind of watching currently, enjoying, reading, and kind of what else is going on in our lives. So if you want to, it's oftentimes we talk about kind of production stuff too. So if you want to peek behind how all this stuff is made and some impromptu business decisions, you can listen to that as well. The $5 a month tier is the recommended one. That is per month, not per episode. So if you want to do that, that's the recommended one. And any financial support is greatly appreciated. Totally understand if you can't. Times are especially tight right now. So if you can't support us financially on Patreon, I also brought back the $1 tier. That doesn't really get you too much other than voting on stuff, but it will support the show. Every dollar helps. You can share our stuff. Twitter, Facebook, tell your friends, rate stuff 5 stars everywhere. All that stuff helps.
Review, etc., etc.
Yeah, All that stuff helps. Patreon.com/E1M1. Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Okay, we'll start with Saturday night, because I was otherwise indisposed on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
My apologies for not responding to your message, Nim. Out of curiosity, did the boys get hold of you? Specifically, one boy.
Not that I had seen, but that's fine.
Okay, I'll be having a certain word with somebody who was in chat a short while ago, and now we will see if he has suddenly fleed.
Robin Twitch chat says, I did not LOL.
No, it's cool. It's according to the pre-show, it's been an interesting week. So
right.
Yeah, you sent me the message, then I didn't get it until 34 minutes later. And then I text Rob and was like, hey, Nimp wants to play D&D. I ain't gonna be on. Send him a message, please. And he's like, I'm driving. Will do when I get home. And then that's it. And then I forgot to chase him up.
Things happened.
No, when I sent you that message, I was ready to play, and then a bunch of stuff happened, and I didn't even get to check my app until I think 11 o'clock. And I'm like, man, this is gonna suck if everyone's like, hey, I thought you were ready. Where are you at?
Right.
Yeah. No. Luckily, your bad day corresponded with me being busy, so that worked out pretty nicely. But so yeah, we ended up playing some games on Saturday. So we went through this whole discussion, we'll say,
okay,
about how I'm annoying because I don't want to play the Back for Blood beta. Because my response was, yeah, I'm done with betas. It's going to be Game Pass day and date. I don't want to get burnt out on playing the game before it comes out.
Right. Why not try it when it's done cooking?
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
So then there was about an hour-long conversation of us all going through our game libraries, trying to figure out what we could all play together. And nobody could make a decision because we're a bunch of old white men. So it came, a bunch of old white men and one Puerto Rican. And I will keep making that joke because that is one that I know will only get a couple of laughs and it's worth it. So I play with Rob, T-Mom, and Mike, who I mistakenly referred to as Puerto Rican a couple of weeks ago. Actually Filipino.
Okay.
But in my defense, I don't know the flags, and it literally starts with a P, and that was the only thing I could think of at the time.
Okay.
So I am going to continue referring to him as Puerto Rican because it's funny to them, apparently.
Okay. As long as it's funny to them, that's the most important part.
Yes, they all giggle about it, which is absolutely hilarious to me because I'm like, I don't know if I'm being racist or insensitive.
Right.
But the person who it's about is also laughing, so I'm fine with it for now, I guess.
Right.
Kind of. I don't know. That's a weird line, like a genuine mistake that could potentially be racist.
Right.
I have to ask moral questions of myself because nobody else will do it for me. My cat doesn't care if I'm a moral person. My cat just cares if it's fed.
Yeah.
So we ended up playing a lot of the Olympics game on Saturday. And when I say a lot, I mean we just played random stuff. Apparently it must have had a patch at some point.
Oh.
Because it seems to work better in some spaces and it seems to be worse in others.
Okay. Interesting.
So I don't know.
Is it really worse than others, or do they just improve certain ones enough that you're like, no, this is still broke on this end?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's one of those games where the jank is kind of a part of it now, and it's like we just roll with it. Quite literally, in some cases, we just roll with it. So it's like, fine, this is broken, that's broken, whatever. And now we've all got enough points to unlock stupid outfits. So then it becomes a case of, okay, who's wearing what for what event?
Mm-hmm.
And when me and Rob end up on the same team for beach volleyball.
Oh, no.
And we're both wearing sumo outfits.
Okay.
And we both are very greased up.
Uh-huh.
It becomes hilarious and dumb at the very same time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of clapback talk, but clapback of a specific kind if you Wink, wink, nod, nod at the adults in the room kind of thing.
Right.
Now, by sumo costume, do you mean like just the loincloth, basically, or like the full-on padded out? Okay.
Just the loincloth.
Okay.
I mean, either way would have been funny, but
yeah, this game is wild, man.
I am about as pale and white as I can be in the game, and Rob looks about as tired as he could possibly be in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally just the two of us running around this beach volleyball like game, doing dives into the sand, and it's just like no.
It's the worst version of the Dead or Alive beach volleyball game.
Yeah, had to turn the HDR down to get the glare down a little bit.
I wish it had HDR. I wish it had anything that was like even any form of upgrade for the new consoles. But I'm sure this was made with a shoestring budget, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
But no, it's what you call it. It's a fun game. It's stupid and it's fun to play it, co-op with everybody and literally just have a laugh. That's all we're doing these days, is just having a laugh and a joke about it. So yes, come and join us. We need 8 people. So let's get some 8 people Olympics going on. I'm kidding. If I don't know, we'll see. Join us. It's fun.
Yeah.
Next game I played was Death's Door. This is the latest game to fall to my 1,000 gamer score problem, which I have now done.
Congrats.
That game is so much easier with the base weapons rather than the umbrella. And thank you. Like, it's ridiculous how easy that game is with a sword.
Yeah, you feel like you're a superhero. Just like, oh, you only took 1 hit? What the hell?
So I was talking about this with Rob and everybody, and I was like, so I got the fire upgrade and the bomb upgrade before I beat the game. I didn't get the hookshot upgrade. Those stupid tine people who have the musical tines.
Yep.
Which, number one, immediately makes me think of Fringe. So thank you for that.
Right. Right.
Well, they took me so long to beat when I was just using the umbrella.
Yeah.
And then I got the hookshot one after I'd beat the game, and it's like, oh, okay, so I took 2 hits and killed you in like 30 seconds.
Right.
What?
Yeah, it's real good.
Oh.
See, I didn't even bother with the upgrades because everyone that I was seeing online was like, "Oh yeah, the bosses for the upgrades are tougher." Like, well, I'm just gonna work on beating the game, and then I'll come back and do those. And yeah, I did the fire one, and yeah, that one was like 30 seconds and done.
Yeah, I did the fire one as soon as on my umbrella run. I did the fire one as soon as I got the fire spell because it's super overpowered. That burn does so much damage, and that with the umbrella, like at the beginning of the game, that was a pretty spicy fight.
And I'm running around with the hammer right now.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like a god on a rampage right now.
Same with the greatsword, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
greatsword, that thing is super OP, and the range is just insane as well.
Yeah,
but yeah, like, so yes, I beat the game. I got all the achievements. I got all the collectibles. I don't like how the game goes from pointing you in a very clear and obvious direction during the game to when you beat the game. It's just like, okay, figure it out.
Sure.
Like it doesn't have that point you in the direction of the next thing you can do kind of thing.
I wish that they had. I feel like they don't encourage you to talk to the characters enough because, like, the Totally a Human Cook will sort of point you to like major secrets and things you have left. And like Pothead will point you to pots that you have not yet put seeds in.
But he only does that when you find him in his garden is the problem.
Right, which that's a whole separate puzzle to solve that is probably the most obtuse one out of all of them. But yeah. I agree with you. Like, I really wish that they had sort of said, like, hey, look, here are like 2 or 3 characters you should probably go talk to because they will help point you at any open. It's like even the doors having that like red or pink outline on them. That's great, but like am I missing 1 seed there, or I'm missing 5 seeds, 3 pots, and like 2 shrines? Like, what's the severity of what I'm missing here?
Yeah, and there is no real good guides that exist out there right now, which is based on area. It's all based on type.
Yeah.
So there is a shiny things guide, and then there is a pots guide, and then there's a shrines guide, but they're all separated into different things. Like, no, I want a location guide.
Right. What's
Tell me
inside
what
of the manor?
location.
Like, let's talk about that.
So I know what to do.
Right.
And yeah, I had like 6 pots, and they were all in Grandma's house. Like, all of them.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because that was before I realized there was an achievement for planting seeds, and I would have enough seeds for every single pot. So
Right.
therefore,
Right.
I was saving them like an item hoarding JRPG monster.
Right.
Yeah, I had the opposite issue. I have so many seeds and I can't find any pots.
Right, right.
But no, like, I wish it did a better job at that, and I wish it. I mean, it's kind of obvious if you explore, but it does not point out that bell tower to you at all.
Yeah, because it... how do I not spoil this? There's like a short cutscene after you beat the final boss that's very obviously like, look at this thing. And I was like, okay, cool. I have a fairly good idea where the thing goes, and I sort of remembered where it was. But when I went to do it, and then I did the thing up there, I was like, cool, this changed something. And then, like, as you explore through the rest of the game, you're like, oh, that... All right, there's a lot more here than I thought.
Yep. It includes going for a midnight walk with the gentleman who runs the stranded sailor.
Yep.
Yeah. That was a really good... It took me a really long time to find out where he wanted to go, but when I got there, I was like, all right, this was a pretty good trip.
Yes. So that was dumb and hilarious at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I still think my favorite music is the factory music from
It's very good.
From the underground thing. I like the story as a whole. The game looks beautiful as a whole. It's long but short. I think my final clock time was 13 hours, I think, on my 100% file.
Yep.
And that's mostly because I was running around trying to do everything myself until I just got annoyed and was like, I'm just going to use the guide. And then the guides were annoying, so then I was like, I'm just going to talk to the people who point me to the places I need to go.
Yeah, I think I got most of it done myself, except for like 2 or 3 seeds and like the last 2 or 3 pots and like 2 shrines. We're just like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And it's like, oh, well, of course, go around this place, bomb this wall, and go under the area you can see, and then it's right there. It's like, oh, okay, I probably wouldn't have not found that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and here is a bunch of doors and paths and stuff that only are available at night.
Right.
So you can make that journey, get to the place you need to go, and then realize you have to go all the way back and change it from day to night, and then go back there again.
It's a really cool idea that I think they were really like trying to get to the point where, like, when the witness makes what its big deal is apparent, I think they were kind of trying to go for that, where it's like, oh, this game is like twice as big as I thought it was, but it doesn't really go all the way there, which I like Death's Door a lot, and I just wish there was like a little bit more of it, because I'd want to keep playing it, or what's there was just like a little bit clearer.
Yeah. It's great, don't get me wrong, it's a fun game and it's fun to play and it's enjoyable, but it's one of those things where it's like, with some minor tweaks at the back end of it, like, this could be an all-time classic kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think for me, Death's Door, I will probably look back on it fondly as an all-time classic, because I really clicked with the like it letting you loose and just sort of saying like, yep, like, explore, go figure out what you're gonna do. Like, that really clicked with me in that game specifically. But I can totally understand if there are people that are like, I don't like playing games like that, or like we're talking about here, where it's like, I think with like just like one or two more hand-holding things, I think it would have been a bit of a smoother experience, but it's real good.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a great
fun.
game.
Nim, how are you doing now? Did you beat it yet?
Yeah, I did beat it. I just haven't gone back through for the achievements.
Yeah.
Because I was at the well, no, I was at the same point as you, where it's like I'm missing all this crap. I don't know where any of it is. I'm tired.
Right. Yeah, pull up some YouTube videos, start watching. Yeah.
Videos are the worst, man. Trying to find like certain shrines and stuff, and it's like, dude, I don't just stop talking and just tell me where it's at.
Yeah,
So-
I'm having like the opposite problem in this game, where it's like, all right, go to this area and go to the northeast, and then go underneath, and then slam one of these things, and then go across. And I'm like, I genuinely don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a little bit better than, hey, it's your boy, Death Store fan number 1. What's up? Pew, 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 pew.
Those are out there.
Yeah. So wild.
No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And my final game was I started the Ascent.
Yes.
Cool.
By started, I mean I did the first mission of the Ascent.
Okay. Yep. I will talk about my Ascent experience probably at the end of the first segment of the show. I'll leave this to you.
So this is interesting so far. I really like the controls. It does tickle me that people got so confused as to, like, we were talking about this, I think it was pre-show Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Like how everyone was like, well, everyone keeps hitting me and I keep dying, and it's like, because you're not rolling and you're not pointing the guns at the enemies.
Yeah, the tutorial says to shoot enemies, point your stick at them, and you always have like a red dot sight, so like there's always a red line coming at your character. And a lot of people are like, it's a top-down kind of isometric 2D game. A lot of people are holding left trigger and then pulling right trigger, but left trigger raises your hand up, so like you can shoot over cover when you're behind. So they're like, I don't know why I'm not hitting the enemies. It's like, it's just telling you to pull right trigger. Just follow the directions on the screen. I know the text is super small, it's really bad, but like, just pull right trigger. It will shoot the enemies. Hit A to roll.
It's muscle memory at this point. You pull right trigger
for sure.
to shoot, and you pull left trigger to aim.
Yeah.
That's because too many people only play Call of Duty, is what that comes down to.
Right. Throwing shade, hey-o.
Yes, not enough people play a variety of games. Get that tapas plate going, folks. Like little nibbles of every type of game. That's what Game Pass is there for.
That's right.
Speaking of that, this is actually on Game Pass. It's fun. I like the style. I go back to the main like hub world area thing.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately was blown away by how big it is, and I really hope I don't have to explore it that much, because that's big, confusing squares full of lights and sound that I don't want to really explore that much right now.
That are all multi-leveled with small alleyways and staircases.
100%.
Yeah.
And
things blocking the camera as well before they go see-through, which is great. Transparent is the word I was looking for.
It took me a while to figure out the map in the game is way more useful for me if I open it up and then zoom in a little bit, because it actually does a really good job when you zoom in a little about if you're looking for this treasure chest up here that's on the map, here's a set of stairs that will go up and then kind of past it and around and back to get to it. And at its like default zoom level, it's a little bit tough.
Yeah. And I mean, it's been fun. It was good to get into it, good to get the controls. That the menus are bright and vivid and not very clear for me right now. Like the upgrade menus, like that. Like there's a lot going on in there. It feels like very busy screen kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I will probably decode that more as I play it more.
Yeah. I do have to say, I think I was really impressed really early on in the Ascent, like when you get into that first big area, like it's an RPG, so of course you start in the sewers and you're killing like whatever their cyberpunk equivalent of rats are.
Yeah.
But like you come out of that into that kind of central, that first central hub area, and it is dirty and it's raining all the time and there's a bunch of neon everywhere, and there's like one of my favorite storefronts in the game you run into really early is Clone, and it's CL and then like 8 O's and NE, and I was like, all right, that's pretty clever. You're getting it. Like it we talked about this on Picking Up the Pixels yesterday with Musum. I feel like it's one of the few cyberpunk games that really gets it, where it's like, yeah, down here underneath the rich people, this stuff sucks. Like, you have no money, your apartment is super tiny, everything's wet, like everyone is trying to kill you, it sucks. It's like, yeah, that's perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I will continue playing that. Maybe play co-op, maybe not. Who knows these days?
Yeah.
We shall see. But so far, I like it. That's all I've been playing this week, unfortunately. Let's move on to Mr. Nimp.
My list isn't that much better. So I did also play a little bit of the Ascent. The only thing that I don't like so far, and it's just because I'm not used to it, is the control scheme a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically the UI on the screen for like when you get your abilities and grenades.
Oh god, yeah.
I haven't fully wrapped my head around, okay, this lets you do the punch and this one throws the grenades.
Yeah, I really wish they, all the way up until the end of the game, I was still mixing up which one is on right bumper and which one is on left bumper. Like, I really wish they would have just put one on the left and one on the right instead of one on the top and one on the bottom. That would have made things way easier on console.
Yeah. But that seems like a lot of fun. I did also get thrown off at first with the left trigger thing. I did it once and had that same thought of, why am I not hitting anything? And that's when I noticed that they are holding their gun over their head, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's me.
There you go.
The next game, Fallout 4, surprisingly.
Oh.
I have already beaten this game forever ago when it first came out. I have the Pip-Boy edition in my closet. Yes, I put my phone in the Pip-Boy once just to try it. So, but my wife actually expressed an interest in this game. I was like, all right, it's on Game Pass on Xbox right now. So it's like, either I can get you the original that I still have, or we can download that. Decided to download that instead. And then I remembered after I had downloaded it that it has mod support.
Right.
I was like, all right. Yep. It's like, cool. Let's go through there and see what we have. And it's a lot of stuff.
Right.
I downloaded a bunch of new music tracks. It's basically radio stations of that era from like the 20s, 30s up to 60s. So I've got like a bunch of new stations for my wife to listen to. I downloaded like a bunch of new hairstyles and character creation stuff so she can mess with that.
Oh, nice.
And depending on how she's feeling, there is just a data pad that you download that's literally just a screen where you turn on God mode, infinite ammo, weightlessness, all that stuff.
Love it.
So all of that stuff's in there. It's like, cool. So I was like, all right, let me test out and see if this works, because I haven't messed with this at all.
I'll just play a little bit.
Yeah, about an hour later, I'm running around the wasteland with a ray gun that I shouldn't have yet, and I am just blowing everything to pieces. So then I put that aside. It's like, all right, this is ready for you. She still hasn't messed with it yet, but it's like, it's ready for you whenever you feel the need to check it out and goof around with it. So, but that game loads way faster, which is something I brought up too. It's like, oh man, I hate you, because you get to play this where like load times are going to be like 30 seconds at the most.
They're not in the minutes.
5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, that was brutal.
Yeah. So that was fun and all. The last game that I have to talk about is Scarlet Nexus.
Oh yeah.
I have not beaten this game yet. because I'm in the final dungeon.
Oh,
okay,
no.
that was going to be my next question.
And because, like every JRPG, the final dungeon has to be a minimum of 20 times the size of any other dungeon you have ever been in before.
Yep.
It's at the point where I'm running past things that I don't have to fight, but the further you get into it, it starts to close off areas until you have fought the enemies in there.
Oh, no.
Which, it's not hard. It's not like it's difficult for me or anything at this point.
Right. It's just like
it's
so much more fighting.
Yeah, it's just kind of a pain. And I don't understand why publishers or mostly developers, do this, because I want to get to that story beat.
Right.
Like, I don't want to spend 3 hours fighting monsters that I've already been fighting in this game and that aren't really a danger to me anymore. Like, I just want to see the next thing.
That's why I like when JRPGs do that thing where, like, you hit an enemy on the world map and you're so much higher level than it that it doesn't even go to the other screen. Like, it just defeats the enemy on the world map. It's like, that's what you need.
I love games when they do that, or the ones where it's like if you're high enough level and you see them on the map and you attack them to initiate the battle and you just straight up kill them and get the money, experience, and items.
It's great. I love it.
Every game, or better yet, just have it so I can slide, the encounter rate where, hey, I'm in the last dungeon. I don't want to fight anything unless it's a boss.
I've already fought everything. Like, let me just get through here.
So, besides the final dungeon so far just sucking, the game itself has been great. I've really enjoyed it. I want you all to think of like an anime trope and a JRPG trope. You don't have to say it out loud, but just think of one.
Right.
That's in here.
If you say it out loud, it doesn't come true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the only thing I'm missing so far is a mech.
Maybe that's the last boss. I don't know, so I'm not spoiling anything, but like...
Maybe I do get one. I don't know. But,
yeah.
But this game has taken a lot of crazy directions and a lot of crazy turns, and I am down for it. I just wish the final dungeon was not as long as it is, because it is just killing me right now.
Oh, man. I'm still looking forward to playing that. I'm just waiting for it to kind of come down in price a little bit.
Yeah. Which, hey, we got Thanksgiving coming around the corner, so
holiday
sales and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides the final dungeon, which I gripe about every JRPG, it's been really, really fun to play.
Yeah.
Each phase or chapter takes you like an hour or two at the most.
Oh, that's not bad.
So I mean, you're not like right now I'm at 23 hours, I think, and I'm almost to the final boss.
That's not bad.
So it keeps around that 20-hour mark for each character. So
that's good.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I'm still really enjoying it, and I probably will wait to play the second character once I want to see how the New Game Plus works out on this one, because you can switch to the other character. So I'm just curious on what moves over and all that fun crap. But yeah, I will probably get it beat tonight after this podcast.
Right. 30 more minutes.
Anytime anything's got a New Game Plus, like all of us can't help but click on that button just to see what carries over.
Yeah, 100%.
Is this a good New Game Plus or is this a bad New Game Plus? Is the ultimate question of video games, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's not like the Tales games where they're like, all right, you finished this game, here's all the points you accrued during the game. What do you want to buy for your New Game Plus? Like that's probably one of my favorite. Like Chrono Trigger is, of course, like one of the best ones. But I really love the Tales games where it's like, all right, you stored up, because of your how well you did in the game, you stored up like 1,500 points. Do you want to carry over your items? Do you want to carry over your levels? Do you want to not gain experience in your next playthrough? Do you want to have $1 bajillion as soon as you start? Like, how do you want to craft that New Game Plus experience?
I always loved how Tales did it, but honestly, too, I can't remember the last time I've hit New Game Plus and been like, "Wow, this sucks." Like it's been a bit.
Yeah, I'm sure there's been one where it's like, "Oh, I don't carry over anything. Like you just let me carry over like my potions. You give me like 30 potions. Oh, right." It's like that sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's all I've been playing this week.
Yeah. Quick note here about Destiny 2. Boy. So the Nightfalls are like harder versions of the Strikes in the game. Strikes are like short co-op story missions. There are varying difficulties of the Nightfall Strikes, going from like pretty brain dead to Master, which is genuinely fairly difficult. Then sitting right above that are Grandmaster Nightfalls. You have to be, this season, level 1335 to get in there. You are capped at that level, and then every enemy is at 1360. So you are significantly weaker than all of the enemies that you're facing up against. They're hard. They're not impossible, but they are kind of the pinnacle of the PvE endgame. I think some of the Grandmasters are harder than the raid. Either of the kind of active raids right now. This week, all of the Grandmaster Nightfalls for this whole season have opened up, so you can kind of pick and choose whichever one you want. The Destiny crew, we still have 2 left to go. Fallen Saber, which we will get taken care of before the end of the season, and the Glassway. My God, the Glassway Nightfall is so brutally difficult in like a nearly impossible way. We had one really solid run that we almost beat it on. The first like 90% of that strike, not unmanageable. Tough, but like move slowly, team shoot, you communicate, you got it. The boss is like an undying nightmare. It sucks. You're fighting 2 bosses at the same time, both of which are just pelting you with giant attacks that like splash through walls. You have non-stop champion enemies coming at you. We were averaging probably about 15-20 minutes to getting up to the boss fight. We were regularly spending at least half an hour in just the boss fight alone. And at the 45-minute mark, they take away your ability to revive your teammates.
Nice.
That is really rough, because a lot of it was like, all right, don't die. We got 30 seconds left, don't die. And it's like, all right, we hit 45 minutes. I have bad news, Guardian down. And then you just had to fight with 2 people at that point. We will get it, because I really want that title. We only need 2 more. It's just, if anyone else that's listening has tried it, you know where we are, and it's really rough. Jeez.
I was gonna say, is it still difficult because you don't fully grasp the tiny little details for what you have to do, or is this like a thing of eventually you'll just finesse it to the point that you can sleepwalk through it again?
The nice thing about the Grandmaster Nightfalls is you can't really sleepwalk through them because you're so low level compared to the enemies that like even like the lowest level of enemies, like here's the guys that you just like shoot in the head once and they explode, they are a threat. So like part of what I like about it so much is like it relies so much on not only communication but team composition. So it's like, all right, I'm going to run this, which is going to kind of complement you running that, and the third guy's going to run this, which kind of backs up that, and like, all right, I've got this element and this anti-champion type covered, you can run that one, and that'll kind of complement this, and like, we're chaining supers to kind of take advantage of orb generation on this super to feed this other one. Like, you never really sleepwalk through them. There's one Nightfall this season that you could kind of sleepwalk through because it's really easy, but the majority of them is like, yeah, you gotta be on your game the whole time when you're doing it, and a lot of it is like going slow and steady enough in that boss room to make sure you don't get overwhelmed, because nearly everything is pushing very aggressively towards you and they one-shot you. So a lot of it is like, do a little bit of damage, take out these guys, as safely as you can, do a little bit of damage, and kind of rinse and repeat. We'll get it. We were getting faster and better and cleaner every time. It's just a matter of like, just like the raid night we do, we don't have a ton of time on Destiny nights to play. We get maybe 2 hours. So if like a run is taking 45 to 50 minutes, the math doesn't really add up where we can take a lot of attempts. So we'll get it, but it's just a special call out to that being real rough. Ooh, boy. I played a new Game Pass game called Dodgeball Academia. If
My son
anybody,
started playing that.
yeah, if anyone remembers Golf Story on the Switch, it's very reminiscent of that. It is a sports-based RPG. You're a kid that's real good at dodgeball, so he gets accepted to the Dodgeball Academy, and it's really fun. It's also a dodgeball RPG, so it's really fun hitting an enemy with a dodgeball and seeing 5 HP come off of their health bar, which is really satisfying. Only played probably about a half an hour of it, so I got like the tutorial battles, and we did like a 2v2 dodgeball thing. Got some of the story. Really cool art style. It reminds me a lot of OKKO, that TV show. It has like a bajillion characters in it. It looks really, really cool. It seems like it's going to fly 100% under the radar. It just kind of showed up on Game Pass one day without any real fanfare. So I want to mention Dodgeball Academia. Looks like a cool thing. And the Golf Story sequel is going to be released sometime this millennia. So if you're looking for something that's really similar, go check that out. Katamari Damacy Reroll, that got released on.
Also playing that as well.
Yeah, I fired that up to check it out, and whoops, I cleared like 10 levels. Because hey, the first Katamari game is really good. There's nothing different with it, which is great. It is that game with, I think, almost no quality of life improvements, which is fine because it didn't really need. Oh, the only one that's there is when your Katamari grows a size in the later levels, there's no long loading screen because it's not on the PS2 anymore. So that's kind of nice. They still do the screen where it's like, your Katamari is bigger than 300 of these stop signs. But you can just hit one, like the options button, and still keep on going. It's great. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. And
but it needs to be.
Yeah, like it's they carried over the first one and they didn't mess with it, which is all that game needs to be.
I remember my daughter watching the intro to that, and she's like, "What is going on?" It's like it's the game. Just you'll
yeah,
like
I showed that to my 4-year-old, and she was like, And it's like, yeah, that's about right. Yep, yeah. That's you got it. You figured it out. Also fired up Lumines, the Lumines Remastered.
I almost loaded this week.
It's really weird playing this on a not PSP or Vita screen. Seeing this game real big, it looks great. Like, it plays great. The soundtrack is great. Like, it's still the Lumines, but it's one of those weird things where it's like, this is way bigger than I think I need it to be. Like, this is it's so big, it's so bright. But I didn't play that much of it because I haven't played it in a really long time, and I'm bad at that game because I get impatient. So I've never been that great at Luminous. But both of those games are on Game Pass, so you should check them out. Last game here, The Ascent. 3 out of 3 of us will talk about it. I finished it probably around 15 hours. The achievement for side quests says I'm like 60% through on all the side quests. So I kind of did those here and there as I was going through just to kind of keep my level up. Finished at around level 27, 28. I like the Ascent a lot. There's a lot of caveats to that, though. Again, small team, first game, not super huge budget. lot of rough edges. The patch came out this week that smoothed out a lot of the crash bugs, which is really great because sometimes you would just be walking around and then suddenly you would be back at the main menu for the game, like the one where you pick single player or multiplayer, and it's like, wait, what?
The first time after it got downloading, the first time I went to start it, it hard stopped my Xbox, and I had to force shut it down, and then clicking on the game would not start it, so I had to restart the console again, and then it would load up.
Yeah, hopefully those all should be... Also, the inability to exit the game seems to have been fixed. A whole lot of... This game did way better for the developers than they were expecting. I think Curve Digital said it has hit 5 million downloads so far. So, like, way better than even Curve Digital was expecting. So, go into the game expecting there to be some pretty uneven difficulty spikes. My 2 recommendations for the game: set that game to easy for sure. Set the aim assist to high. That aim assist is set up for mouse and keyboard. High will give you like just a little bit. It's not going to be like Wanted, where I'm looking away from the enemies and it's just whoo, it's curbing the bullets off the screen.
Yeah,
it's just going to give you that like little bit of help where it's like, I feel like I should have hit the enemy and I didn't, and that would be my recommendation. I think the last boss fight in the Ascent is really cool. If you have watched literally any movie in history, you probably see where this is going.
Becca Hitler, let's go.
Yeah. I'm a little bit disappointed in how you do the final boss fight. I think killing the final boss makes it way harder than it needs to be, and I think that's kind of a bummer. I think it really pushes you into a smaller set of skills than I maybe was comfortable with. I have to... One thing I wish they would have explained earlier is you need to be constantly switching up your gun loadout to fight the type of enemy you're fighting. If you're going to be fighting a lot of robots, you need to equip a gun that shoots arc shots. It'll have like the little lightning icon lit up.
Yeah.
That will chew through mechanical enemies. Likewise, fire weapons for any human enemies. Like, even if they're above your level, hitting them with a fire shot will often one-shot them. And that made a huge difference, especially as there's a sort of larger difficulty spike near the end. I won't talk about the ending. Little disappointed where it felt pretty abrupt, and I wasn't necessarily crazy where it went, sort of story-wise. But I was talking earlier about how I felt like this game really got the kind of like capitalist nightmare that is Cyberpunk, especially kind of the haves and have-nots and how all that lays out. As you go up in kind of height in this area in this city, they really get the haves and have-nots idea really, really well. Like, if you look in where you guys are, if you go in an elevator that takes you from one floor to another, there's like a ton of people in the elevator. There's a bunch of trash in the corner. The one has like, I think, a dead guy in the corner that no one seems to care about. As you get higher and higher, like one of the last elevators you take up has like a guy talking on like this super space phone. There's a coffee bar in the corner. Like it's this real different experience that I think really nails the cyberpunk stuff really nicely. I think the Ascent is really great. I would love to go for the 1,000 points, but there's like 4 or 5 achievements that are totally bugged right now.
Right.
That they know about and they're working on, but it's a very small team. I still recommend people trying this out. I still recommend like trying to put like maybe 3 hours in, because I think the beginning of the game is solid but doesn't put its best foot forward. But I feel like kind of like the point you're starting to get to, Nimp, now, where you're getting like the biotic enhancements. Yeah. Like you're getting your kind of, I think you could click in the left stick to throw your grenade. Like you start getting more options for all 3 of those slots. You start getting your enhancements for your 2 actives, your 2 passives. You start getting more weapons. Like you get a lot of pistols. You get a lot more weird, crazy guns. One of the last guns I picked up in this game, I was launching saw blades. That was awesome. They cut through like 3 or 4 people. It's great. But like by the end of the game, my grenade ability was a turret that kind of hung out near me. Not only shot enemies, but also was taking a lot of aggro off of me. You can hack turrets around the area to have them fight for you. My 2 active abilities, one was I kind of planted this giant area around on the map, and anybody I hit with that inside of that area, anytime I would shoot them, I would steal health from them, which was huge because there's not enough healing in this game, and it doesn't automatically refill your health after a fight. And then my other active ability was just an airstrike. I just like shot a giant area full of like 15 missiles. It was super cool. So like, I feel like pretty quickly in the game, you start getting more options to make a loadout for your character with your skills, and you're starting to put skill points in, you're starting to get stronger. But I feel like it doesn't show you enough of that cool stuff early on. So like I would really recommend people spend like a couple, if you're not like allergic to like a twin stick RPG, I think stick with it for a little bit because it doesn't make the best. You literally start in the sewers, like doing the RPG killing rats mission. Like it's not the best.
Yep.
Those missions are never the best thing RPGs do, and every RPG does them. Like it's so frustrating. But I think so much of the Ascent is really cool. There's like 2 major difficulty spikes. I was talking to Mackie in Discord today. He's running into the first one like a couple hours in, where it's like, yeah, this quest says it's level 2, and I'm running into level 22 enemies. It's like, yeah, you just need to progress the story a little bit further so you can kind of get around that stuff. And there's a big difficulty spike right before the final boss battle. But I really like it. I think the Ascent is a really cool thing. I'm glad it's on Game Pass so people can try it out. I think it's like $30 if you don't buy it on Game Pass, which feels like a pretty fair price. But I think it's one of those perfect Game Pass games where it's like it costs you nothing to spend a little bit of time with it and see if you like it. If you don't, I totally get it. But if you do, like it's this cool. If so many people weren't playing it, it would really be a hidden gem, a lot like Ironcast, which we're playing over on We Roguelike It, where it's like, yeah, no one is talking about this game. There's no information about it. I'm happy more people are playing the Ascent because it's a really cool thing, and I really recommend people checking it out. It's not as much of an RPG as you might think it is if you're not an RPG fan. But if you are an RPG fan, I think you can kind of spend a little bit of time min-maxing stuff and have a really cool build.
It's just the guns and tech portion of RPGs, not the swords and sorcery.
Right, yeah. And you don't find out until like way later in the game than you should. There are tiers of like guns and armor. So like you do have like white items or yellow, and then purple is like the highest quality. But most of the time when you get to a new area and enemies, you're scooping up every piece of gear anyway because you don't have a limit. usually when you get to a new area, you're going to look at the gear you just picked up anyways, and it's probably going to be better anyway. So there's not a lot of, you can like make a build where it's like, oh, I want to focus on this over that, but I never found it to be super impactful.
For character specs, did you kind of keep it balanced, or did you start just speccing in one? Like right now, I had like a bunch of points, and I was just like, well, right now I'm just going to put it in health and energy because I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to run this character, so it doesn't make a lot of, I shouldn't dump it all in tech because I don't know if I'm going to use any tech right now.
Yeah, that's a good question. So for my run, the first two I maxed out were health, and the one, I think it's called aiming, and it's essentially like closing the cone, like the shot spread cone coming out of your guns. When you max that thing out, like every gun you have is a laser. And that for that game specifically is a huge help. I'd recommend those two, kind of like spreading it across both of those to start off with. Then I did the battery one to get you more of like the blue bar, whatever, like your mana bar. And then after that, I kind of did, I could put a couple hits in, a couple points in critical hit, but found that didn't really do anything. And I put like a handful of points in like recovering from like your rolling cooldown, and found that didn't really do anything either. So I put a bunch of points into whatever your active item is, like your grenade item. Put a bunch of points in that. That made a huge difference because you essentially get more energy for that every time you hit an enemy. So you fill that thing up faster. There was a bunch of fights where like, if I'm in a boss fight, I'm getting that like every time I kill like 2 or 3 enemies, that thing is full again. So that, especially at the end of the game, that was really helpful. So those are the kind of the 3 I would recommend. And after that, probably whatever your kind of preferred loadout is. Yeah. Jimbo Jangles in the chat says, really loving the Ascent still, but man, this game lacking HDR on console is a bummer. Yeah, they just fixed HDR on the Game Pass version on PC. Like the Steam version had it, but the Game Pass version didn't. So I'm hoping it comes to the console version, because this game is a really good looking game already, and I really wish it had HDR in it natively, because I think that would make a lot in that game really pop. But yeah, The Ascent, 2 thumbs up. Really enjoyed it. Just go in knowing that it's not. It is one of the B games that I really like, where it's like you had a small team, you had a small budget, you made something super cool, and a game that looks genuinely really good, like a real showpiece for the console, with a whole bunch of rough edges. And just kind of keep that in mind. But that's all I played this week. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny seeing the developers on that. Like if you look at their Twitter account and subreddit and everything, a lot of it is like, boy, a lot of you are playing this game. There's not a lot of us. So if you guys could be patient, that would be super great. Oh no.
Yeah, honestly, besides when I first tried to launch the game, I haven't run into any other issues yet.
Yeah.
So, and even then, I wasn't entirely sure it was the game's fault, as in just maybe didn't finish downloading or you know, something. So. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least it didn't break my Xbox, because
I
would have been pissed. And apparently, there's not a lot of that, but there's enough of that going around between the Xbox and the PS5 that it's like, I'm gonna have to start waiting on buying games to make sure I don't brick my console.
Well, and like it's still to the point where you can't readily find either one of those, so like it's getting a little bit better, but it's not like, all right, I broke it, let's just go down to Best Buy and get another one. All right, it's not to that level. Also, like I cannot believe how many consoles both Microsoft and Sony have sold since both of those consoles launched. Like, Microsoft, reading between the Sony said they sold like 10 point something million consoles,
Yeah.
and reading between the lines on Microsoft, sounds like they've sold around the same amount. So it's like, not only is the chip shortage easing up for both of them based on their press releases, they're just selling out as many as they can make. They're selling out of each and every one of those. Like, the demand is through the roof.
Well, and I'm still seeing people talking about for like PS5s. It's like, as soon as anything goes live on any website, they're sold out in 15 seconds.
Yeah. And like a part,
scalpers.
Yeah, like a part of that is definitely scalpers, but like a part of that too is also just sky high demand. Like, places are still having a hard time keeping Switches in stock. Like, demand for this stuff is so high right now.
Oh.
It's wild.
But yeah.
Yeah. Game Pass is great. I've been playing a lot of Game Pass stuff, which just makes me very happy.
Oh.
I know, that's the crap thing, because you guys keep bringing up games on Game Pass. I'm like, that does sound interesting.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do not have time.
Right.
That's why I'm only like an hour or two in the Ascent, because I was like, hey, yeah, this is really cool. Let's put this on the back burner so I can beat one of the games that I actually bought.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love so much about Game Pass is, like, if I get like another hour into Dodgeball Academia and I don't like it, it's fine. I don't have to finish it. Like, it's essentially free. I don't have to worry about it.
My son is giving me crap because he is fighting the final boss in Crystal, and I am still in the second city of Crystal, because it also suffered from the same thing of, let me put this on the back burner for now because I have games that I paid for.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to beat before the other games that I paid for later on.
Probably like 15 minutes until the end of his Scarlet Nexus. I just gotta knock this thing out.
I wish you... Dude, I looked up a guide for Scarlet Nexus, and there's still like 6 more pages of shit before I even get to the final boss.
Woof. Godspeed. Man.
It's just, I don't understand. And it's not like, I'm at the point now where it's like I'm kicking off like limit breaks and power usages like nothing, because everything recharges so fast. So like I said, it's not an issue. It's just, I want that next story beat. It has built me up to the point that it's like, I want to see where this is going.
Right. I just want to finish it. Yeah. All right. You guys ready to?
And Hades. I have that preloaded on my Xbox.
That comes out this week.
Yeah. I have it preloaded on 2 consoles.
Yeah, Jimbo brought it up in chat. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yep.
And Art of Rally as well comes out this week.
Yeah, sure does. Well, you guys want to talk about releases then?
Honestly, though, I'm probably going to put Art of Rally to one side, because I think we discussed that might be a good Game Club game.
Yeah, maybe we can play that next on Game Club. I actually don't know how much content is in there either.
For what game?
Art of Rally.
Art of Rally. It's an isometric, chilled out rally game.
Yeah. Looks super cool. I'm waiting a long time to play that. All right, you guys ready to wrap this thing up?
Yep.
Yup.
Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of August 9th, 2021. I Am Dead comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series X. This came out on PC and Switch a couple of months ago. This is an Annapurna published thing. You kind of like a museum curator dies and is reunited with his dog and has to solve a mystery about something that's going to destroy this island. The style looks really cool. It looks like a game that's very much made for me.
And Annapurna has like the last 2-3 weeks, like all of a sudden they're just like everywhere.
Yeah,
I don't think I've gone a week without somebody not dropping that name.
Yeah, that's so good. Godfall comes out on PS4. They've been talking about putting this PS5 exclusive game on PS4 for a while. It's coming out. I haven't seen any footage of Godfall. Is a game that I think I would probably really like, and I just have not gotten around to playing it yet. So I haven't seen any footage of the PS4 version. It probably looks fine. The Fire and Darkness expansion is also out at the same time. I believe that comes out on all 3 platforms. Is that also on PC, I believe?
Sure.
So, yeah. Go check that out if you're one of the 2 people playing it. Lawn Mowing Simulator comes out on Series X and PC. This looks very relaxing. I would also like it if Power Washing Simulator could come out on consoles, because I would really like to play that, and that looks like the level of excitement and investment I'm at right now.
I have actually heard that the Power Washer Simulator game has added more worries, I guess. Like it's hitting the thing where it's great that you can see parts being cleaned, but it's really hitting them in that, oh, this is also dirty and there's so much work that has to be done.
Right. Like level of anxiety is just like,
yeah, there we go, anxiety.
Yeah.
So I guess it does really good for being a simulator.
Yeah, it's true. Art of Rally is coming out on Series X, PC, and Switch. That's on Game Pass day and date. Like Moon talked about during the break, this is an isometric, sort of chilled out, relaxed rally game. Looks really great. It has a really cool art style. Looks like it's kind of slippery, like you like rally games to be. That kind of like controlled slipperiness. I've been watching this game for a while. I'm really pumped to play this finally. And last but certainly not least, Hades comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series X as Game Pass day and date. It is digital version is $25. Physical version is $30. So go play Hades if you haven't. There hasn't been a better time with it being essentially free on Game Pass. Hades is an incredible game. Even if you don't like roguelikes, this is probably the most welcoming roguelike that you could play. I am very excited to play this on a controller that isn't a Joy-Con.
Also very excited to play this on a console that is my primary console.
Yeah.
I did. Dude, this is going to be a problem, by the way.
Especially now that there are achievements/trophies, that's a very real worry.
So for those of you who only listen to the mainline show, we did Hades and we roguelike it when it came out with early access earlier this year, or was it last year?
Early this year, late last year. I don't remember.
Get ready, folks, because there's going to be a lot of Hades talk.
Yeah, there's a lot in Hades, and all of it is really good. I am not exaggerating though. If you haven't liked roguelikes or you want to get into the genre, this is genuinely a really, really good entry point. It is not one of those roguelikes that people think roguelikes are, where it's like, oh, I got the lucky item and I got through this game. Like, you can get a super overpowered item and it makes your runs easier, but like, it is largely skill based, and there's a ton in this game, and it does not dump all of it on you right away. It doles out a little bit here and there every single run, and it's very satisfying. Yeah. And of course, it looks great, sounds great. You know, it's one of that studio's games, so you know, it's good. Go play Hades. We don't have any news stories this week because the general video game industry is a horrible nightmare hellscape for nearly everybody working at a large or small studio, and I am horrified by every single news story that has been coming out this past week and a half, 2 weeks. It all sucks. It's all terrible. God, just the worst. So let's move on to questions. Cosmic Cow in Twitch chat asks, I've been playing new Super Lucky's Tale. I want to know what is your favorite guilty pleasure game meant for the younger demographic of gamers. New Super Lucky's Tale is actually really good. I like, that's like a really solid kind of, not, you know, super, super easy, but not hardcore kind of character platformer.
Oh, Diddy Kong Racing?
I also liked.
I was-
Oh, God.
I was of the age for that one, but then I kept playing
Sure.
it long past I was of the age because that game is essentially designed for the younger audience, but at the same time, it then has the oh, you're a grown up? Okay, well, here is some grown up challenges for you. I.e., TT. I hate TT.
Yeah.
I would have said
oh, God.
Ratchet and Clank at one point, but that's finally kind of like everyone who grew up with it obviously
Mhm.
is older now, but it still kind of seemed like that half kiddie, half adult game. But the last game apparently is just everyone likes it. No one sees it as a kid game
Right.
anymore. So
Yes.
The PS4 one was really good as like an intro to the.
yeah,
It was easier than kind of most of the other ones. I had to,
So, go ahead.
I had to look this one up. Max: The Curse of Brotherhood came out on
Yeah,
Xbox
not
One.
bad.
I like that one a lot. It's like a fairly straightforward sort of 2D side-scrolling light puzzle platformer, but I had a lot of fun with that one.
I have the most obvious and stupidest answer,
Okay.
especially for two people sitting in this room.
Mhm.
Lego.
I was just gonna ask you if you were gonna throw at me what I threw at you in like pre-show, where it's like
Uh-huh.
Moon asked me the question recently of like if and I feel like this comes up maybe every couple of years from someone. It's like if you
Yeah.
want to get someone comfortable with two sticks on a modern console, what game would you come up with? I put out my kind of obvious answer, which is Portal. It's funny, it has great puzzles. There's no real fail state until like the very end, so you can kind of take your time. It's pretty straightforward. We also talked about Minecraft, but due to the intended audience, that was kind of persona non grata. And then we were sitting around, sort of racking our brains for stuff where it's like, oh, Journey, but we don't really own that, and it's not on a lot of platforms. And then when I was doing some Googling, like Moon and I were both surprised we didn't think of, any of the Lego games, is they have like no fail state, and they support pretty much every button on the controller, and they are not really interested in pushing you through the game super quickly. So, yeah. Jimbo Jangles in chat says, is Fortnite a good answer? I mean, how else am I going to see Ariana Grande in concert while I'm dressed as a muscle cat? You raise a good point. That Ariana Grande concert was incredible, by the way. 2 thumbs up. Really great. Fortnite might actually be a really good suggestion if you stick to creative and just kind of like, here, just build stuff, go nuts. But maybe not necessarily like the shooting against 99 other people, where are we dropping boys part of it.
Yeah. Not to mention the wonderful community that springs around voice chat and things like this.
Oh, I have voice chat off 100% of the time. It's so bad. On the PS5, they thought it would be a really good idea to have voice chat come through the controller speaker when you don't have headphones plugged in. Thanks, Epic. What?
Yeah. Anytime that comes up, I just think of them doing the Giant Bomb doing the PUBG quick look. And then he's like, so yeah, we're all in the plane. Now I have voice chat muted for a very good reason.
Right.
And then like, come on, unmute it. So he unmutes it, and then it's just a string of beeps, and then he mutes it again.
Yeah. So normally, whenever I forget to turn it off, it's just somebody out of the microphone going, hello? Hello? And it's like, oh my, stop. No one wants to voice chat, man. Stop.
Yeah.
God. Oh, man. All right. Well, that's our episode for this week. We got don't have a lot going on here in the second half, but that's okay. Sometimes we'll have a shorter episode. You can visit us at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page. Patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are numbers. Talked about all the good benefits for you. All your financial support goes towards hosting costs, software costs, etc. You can see all that stuff on the Patreon page. I'm very transparent about where all of your hard-earned money goes, and then we're getting closer and closer. We're inching towards that $250 goal of me playing spooky, scary stuff and live streaming it and crying, streaming the tears down my face at the same time. So we're approaching $100 left on that tier. So keep signing up, keep supporting us, and I think that's it. So we'll see you all next week. Bye.
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 Boston, Google just told me that Legends of Tomorrow had a new episode aired today.
Air today? Oh, goodness.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Some new season must be starting?
I think so. I find it weird considering I very rarely Google Legends of Tomorrow.
Right.
Or anything to do with it. And it's like, hey, just so you know.
I have to start getting back into that.
Yeah, I'm feeling the itch to start back the Arrowverse stuff after taking a little bit of a break. So yeah.
I've been feeling it a little bit, but then every time I sit down, it's like I don't want to do anything.
Yeah. All right, Nimp. Titles.
Only got 2. Let's get some 8 people. And God on a Rampage.
Moon, what do you have?
God on a Rampage, Can't Find the Pots, Full of Light and Sound, and a lot of caveats.
Full of light and sound. I didn't write any down this week. So all I wrote down here was God on a Rampage and Full of Light and Sound.
Both are good.
We're having a real struggle week this week.
Yeah.
It's a grown-up thing, I think.
Yeah.
Being an adult is hard.
Yeah. I'm kind of leaning more towards light and sound.
Yeah, that's fine.
For like no real
Keeping
good
up
reason.
with the theme of the week.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not married to any of this. Okay, I'll circle it. Let me know when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
What was it? Light and what?
Full of light and sound.
Light and sound. Okay.
Okay. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 720 for August 9th, 2021. Full of light and sound.
Like a virtual concert.
Get Sandstorm ready on repeat.
God.
I'm not going to lie, I was going to go there. It was the first thing that popped into my head was doodle-doodle-doo.
All right, well, thanks very much, everyone, for hanging out with us and chatting. And we'll see you all next week. Bye.